Max, Bitcoin future. There's a lot there you can play with, man. There's a lot there. You can go in whatever direction you want. Addison
Orange
wants to
pill,
know what's the
everyone.
Bitcoin future.
Well, what stops people from doing what they want to do, and it all comes down to fear. Most people are riddled with fear, and fiat money compounds the problem because it creates a situation where, let's say in this country, if suddenly you're absent fiat money, you can become homeless. If you have to go to the hospital and you need some medical attention, the way it's set up now is that you could become bankrupt, and something like hundreds of thousands of Americans went medically bankrupt in the last couple of years, and that's fear, and that tool of fear is used to subjugate. It's used to propagandize. It's controlled centrally by the worst amongst us who have fiat-based power. Now, with Bitcoin in the mix, what happens when you take that fear away? And when you take the fear away, that vacuum inside of you is replaced by love. It's replaced by faith. And if you take the average person and you take away all their fear and you replace it with love or replace it with faith, that person is a different person. That person is doing something they're doing, and they're doing it fearlessly, with compassion, with and that makes all the difference. So, and that can happen pretty quickly when enough people lose their fear in this country and in the world around us, because the fiat money fear barons have been put out of business by Bitcoin. That's it. We have a spiritual awakening where the fear is gone, and once fear is gone, you're at peace, and with peace, you can do something or not do something, but doesn't matter if you do it or not do it, and that's something that I think we will experience in our immediate futures, and that's something that we see very, very, very rarely. It's hinted at through certain religious tracks, religious concepts, the hints at this idea that doesn't nail it, doesn't solve for it. We see it through artistic endeavors, when we're moved by a work of art, for example, that's fear leaving our body. When we see a work of art that's fantastic and it moves us emotionally, that's the fear is leaving us, and it's replaced with this faith, and we have a spiritual experience, we have an emotional experience. And but it's so we kind of know it's there, but it's like a ghost. The ghost of actualization, the ghost of ideation is here, but we can only glimpse it through a peripheral vision, through our maybe our sixth sense, right? It's hinted at through the artists and the poets. With Bitcoin, it becomes realized. It becomes who we are, and our journey, many, many, many long years, hundreds of thousands of year journey of fear and hate comes to an end. And we may be the generation that experiences it. So on one hand, the Gen Z and the millennials, they got the raw end of the stick because the boomers stole everything. But on the other hand, as the boomers die off, it could be the millennials and the Gen Z that experience this rapture. So that could be interesting to see. I hope I'm around to see the full flowering of this. Our senses are insatiable. Our wanderlust is insatiable. Why? Humans are always going to be pushing the envelope. We're always going to be flying to the moon. We're always going to be crossing the ocean. The early ocean crossings were done by folks who thought the Earth was flat, and they were going to sail right off the ocean. Did they stop? No. How many people signed up to fly to Mars? Plenty, even though it's a suicide mission. But their heart has an insatiable quest for the new. And it's both our greatest asset and our greatest weakness, because the money sucks. The money, unfortunately, does not equal our ambitions as humans to know everything and to experience everything. With Bitcoin, these two things are finally merged. Perfect money with a human soul. You put those together and you have a new evolutionary step. It's a quantum evolutionary step. We're going to be a different species very soon, because the legacy system and the inadequacies of this system that we've had now a 200,000 year experiment with will change. It'll be a quantum change. It'll be a step change. And of course, change is something most people don't want to experience. People are resistant to change, even with that wanderlust. People, if you look at the vast majority of people, they're mired in fear, they're mired in hatred, because they are the victims of the fiat money paper pushers and the paper barons. And they live in hovels. They live in a prison of paper money. And they dream of escaping. And again, I say it, Bitcoin is a vector. It's a vector out. Michael Saylor's on that vector. He has a dream to be richer than Jeff Bezos. I believe he will be. That dream will be realized. You have lots of different people with lots of different dreams, like Robert Breedlove. When I listen to him talk, I mean, he's got a dream about, I think it's very spiritual in nature, what he talks about. I think he can do this fearlessly. There's no reason why that, whatever his vision is, can't be realized. You know, all dreams can be realized. And think about that. All dreams can be realized if the money doesn't support the fear mongers. If the fear goes out of business and love takes over, there's nothing that can't happen. And we as our natures are not horrid. We're not the horrid people that we pretend to be. We're actually greater than that. The problem has been the money. And with the money going back 200,000 years is a form of monetizing our sensual wanderlust. That's what money's been. And it hasn't really been up to the task until now. Now, this thing up here, there's a path to be opened yet that is quite expansive. It's like Carl Sagan. Remember that show Cosmos? You know, you could feel with Carl Sagan, he had that wanderlust of the cosmic dimensions of things, and he communicated that very well through television. And he became very well known for this because he touched on something, because people really do have a cosmic lust to know, to take it in, because their minds are extremely advanced, but nobody yet has used that organ to its fullest, in its fullest, in a networked way. A networked way. We've had the occasional super genius, you know, the Da Vinci's, Einstein, and they're like silos in out there, and they super accomplished in their spiritual accomplishment. But imagine applying that to the network, and you've got 1 billion or more people suddenly having that epiphany at the same time, which I think Bitcoin enables. And then you have a different reality, and fear dies off. Fear is like your appendix. It's an organ we don't really need. We don't need fear. It served a purpose 1 million years ago, but it doesn't serve any meaningful purpose. And the people who say it does are the paper money fiat printers, because that's how they maintain their empire of fear, is through bullshit paper money. Now Bitcoin is here to eradicate that.